Before we start, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, your money just disappears? Like you're working, earning, doing everything right, but somehow you're still stuck in the same place. Maybe you've told yourself, I just need to earn more money. But what if that's not the real problem? What if the difference between feeling stressed about money and feeling in control is not about how much you earn, but about what you build first? Because most people are chasing big numbers. They think they need to become rich overnight. They think they need six figures or even millions to feel secure. But that's not how it works. In reality, there is one simple milestone that quietly changes everything. It doesn't make you rich, it doesn't make you famous, but it changes how you think, how you decide, and how you live your life every single day. And once you reach it, you will never see money the same way again. So if you've ever felt stuck, stressed, or unsure about your financial future, this might be the most important video you watch. Imagine this for a moment. It's late at night, and instead of sleeping, you're staring at the ceiling. Your mind keeps jumping from one worry to another. What if something breaks tomorrow? What if you suddenly need money and you don't have it? What if something unexpected happens? These thoughts may feel small, but they create a constant pressure that follows you every day. Now, here's the interesting part. There is a certain point in your financial life where most of this pressure begins to fade. Not because your life becomes perfect, but because you finally have a sense of stability. And that point is not $1 million. It is not even 100,000. For most people, the real turning point starts at $10,000. This number may not sound life-changing at first, but the impact it creates is deeper than most people expect. Before reaching that point, life often feels like a constant balancing act. Every decision requires careful thinking. You might stand in a store comparing prices, wondering which option you can afford. You might avoid going out with friends, not because you don't want to, but because your budget is too tight. Every small expense feels important. Every unexpected problem feels like a serious risk. This is what it feels like to live without a financial cushion. But once you build your first meaningful savings, something begins to shift. It is not about spending more money, it's about thinking differently. The first change happens in how you see risk. Without savings, even simple decisions can feel dangerous. Changing jobs, learning new skills, or trying something new can feel too risky. But when you have money set aside, those same decisions start to feel possible. You don't suddenly become reckless, but you stop feeling trapped. You begin to think beyond just surviving each month. There is also a mental change that happens. When you feel financially insecure, your body stays in a constant state of stress. Even small problems can feel overwhelming. But when you have a safety cushion, your mind becomes calmer. You are still aware of problems, but you are not controlled by them. Think about something simple, like a small repair or an unexpected bill. Without savings, it can create panic. With savings, it becomes something you can handle. This difference may seem small, but it affects every part of your life. You think more clearly, you make better decisions, you feel more in control, and most importantly, you stop living in constant fear of what if. Here's something many people misunderstand. The power of saving money is not in spending it, it is in knowing that it's there. This is what gives you peace of mind. It allows you to focus on opportunities instead of problems. Instead of worrying about survival, you begin to think about growth. You might invest in learning something new. You might improve your skills. You might look for better opportunities. And all of this starts with a simple foundation. There is also a quiet confidence that comes with having savings. You carry yourself differently. You are less desperate. You are more willing to say no to things that are not good for you. This confidence can affect your career, your decisions, and even your relationships. Now, you might be thinking that saving $10,000 sounds difficult, and in the beginning it can be. But the real challenge is not just saving money, it is becoming the type of person who saves consistently. Many people try to save quickly, then give up. But lasting change comes from small, steady habits. At first, progress feels slow, but over time it becomes easier. Each step builds momentum, and eventually what once felt impossible becomes normal. There is also a practical reason why this number matters. $10,000 can handle most common financial problems. Car repairs, small medical costs, short periods without income. It does not solve everything, but it protects you from many of the situations that cause stress. And once you have that protection, your mindset changes again. You stop seeing money as something that disappears. You begin to see it as something that creates options. Options to learn, options to grow, options to improve your future. This is when people start thinking about investing, building income, and planning ahead. Not because they suddenly changed, but because they finally have the space to think differently. Here's something important to understand. A person with savings is often in a stronger position than someone who earns more but saves nothing. Because the most important skill is not just earning money, it's keeping it. And building your first $10,000 teaches you that skill. It teaches discipline, it teaches patience, and it teaches you how to make better decisions. In the end, the biggest change is not the number in your account, it's the person you become while reaching it. Because once you build that foundation, everything else becomes easier to build on top of it. So, in the end, saving your first $10,000 is not really about the money itself. It is about what that money represents. It represents discipline, it represents patience, and most importantly, it represents control over your life. Because when you have nothing saved, life feels unpredictable. Every problem feels bigger than it should be. Every decision feels heavier than it needs to be. But when you build that first financial foundation, something changes. You stop reacting to life and you start preparing for it. You stop feeling stuck and you start seeing options. And that is where real growth begins. Not when you become rich, but when you finally feel stable. So if you're still at the beginning of your journey, don't focus on getting rich fast. Focus on building your first foundation. Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. Because one day, you will look back and realize that everything started with that first step. Now, if this video helped you see money differently, make sure to subscribe and stay with this channel. Because here, we don't just talk about money, we build a smarter way to live. And remember, it's not about how much you have today. It's about what you choose to build next. I'll see you in the next video.